88 Films.
Another episode. Got my co-host DC here.
What up?
And then today we have a very special guest. Very excited about this one, Skinny Vinny.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. I'm super stoked, and I love being able to walk on set and not have to set up the cameras.
Yeah, because you pretty much do everything, right?
Yeah. I'm a jack of all trades. I started off the production side of things, and then when I got the taste of attention, it really sparked my crave for it. Because I'm like deep down, I'm an attention whore. So I was just like, all right, let me start making my own content, and shit just started working out.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you're originally from Connecticut, right?
Originally from Connecticut, New Haven, and I moved out here like 6 years ago, and it was the best decision I've ever made.
You said you had told us before starting the film that you came over here pretty much homeless, right?
Homeless. The only thing that I had was a backpack, a skateboard, and like a couple white tees.
That was it.
That's
crazy.
That was it. Just because like I was strung out on drugs for shit like 13, 14 years. And the last 3-4 years of it, I was homeless. Before that, I was couch surfing here and there. But the last 3 or 4 years, I was like super homeless. And in Connecticut, I was sleeping in a handicap-sized porta potty.
Oh, shit.
And I did that for almost 3 years. And the crazy part about it was like I was super comfortable.
Word?
Because that's like the insanity behind it.
Okay.
You know, I was just super comfortable. As long as I had my drugs and my Obama phone to watch Netflix, I was chilling.
Nice.
You know?
Crazy.
And then before that, you when you were in Connecticut, I think I read that you used to film videos before that, right?
Yeah. That it was like my first passion, man. It was you know, the first time I saw Jackass on TV, I think it was like October of 2000 or something, you know? And I remember pointing at the TV and I was like, Mom, this is what I want to do when I'm older. I just want to like travel the world and do dumb shit with my friends.
Yeah.
And she just like laughed it off. She was supportive. And she bought me my first camera, and it was kind of like I was like the Jeff Tremaine of my friend group, you know, just like making all my friends do the stupid shit, and we all fell in love with skateboarding, and filming skateboarding was another like passion of mine. You know, I love skateboarding so much, but my friends got way better than me because I'm a bigger dude. So like I always wanted to be involved in skateboarding in some way. So filming it was like the next best thing, and so it was like a mixture of like skateboarding and doing dumb stuff with my buddies, and it was like we started to be known as that group in school, and like we would put our tapes together and make like a VHS tape and give it to the friends in high school and middle school and stuff. And but then like, you know, every teenage kid starts smoking weed, drinking, and I'm like a true addict. You know, I can't have anything. And when I started smoking, it was just like I did it, I loved it, and that's all I cared about. And so the passion for skateboarding and filming and making people laugh just like slowly faded away. And then then came the selling drugs, then came the harder drugs, and following festivals around, and just being a very like, I didn't care about anything else except for that life. And next thing you know, like 10 years go by and I'm homeless, and doing all this really fucked up shit and hurting people, and because that's what I do when I'm all messed up. You know, like I do anything I can to get my next fix, and hurt a lot of people in the process, and somehow ended up in LA after all of that. You know, like burn all the bridges with my family.
Oh shit.
My mom didn't want anything to do with me, family, you know, and somebody offered me a plane ticket to LA. They're like, I'll fly out to LA, but you got to get sober. And like my sick thinking was, oh, I'll take your plane ticket, but I'm not getting sober. But I'll tell you that I'll get sober just so I can get the free plane ticket. And then I end up leaving rehab and spending a few months on Skid Row, and the passion. You know, when you're 27 years old, living in New England, and that dream of like moving to Hollywood and becoming famous seems so far fetched to begin with. You know, and now that I'm 27 years old and I'm addicted to drugs and I'm homeless, that dream seems impossible. You know, you never think it would ever happen, you know, and the way that things did work out is like kind of, you know, it's like things happened for a reason, meant to be kind of thing. You know, as soon as I gave my will over, and it was like, I'm a big AA guy. That's how I got sober. And as soon as I was like, okay, I give up, you steer my ship.
Yeah.
You know, because you obviously know what you're talking about. You have some sober time on your belt. You know what you're doing. I trust you. And as soon as that happened, it was weird, man. It's like that's where I met Zach Ass in Sober Living, and I started filming with him, and then it was like a snowball effect of like bigger things. And next thing you know, I had like a year sober. We're filming with Bam and all this stuff, and it was a very quick progression from like homeless to doing all this. But like my career kind of grew while I lived in Sober Living.
Yeah.
You know, it was really weird.
So how was that? Because you said obviously like the Jackass guys were your heroes coming up.
Yeah.
So when you started, like let's say you're becoming sober and then you start filming with Bam, how did that feel for you?
It was a very surreal moment. It was like one of those moments where it's like, okay, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm swearing
No,
too
you're
much.
good.
But yeah. It's like how the hell how did I get to this situation? Because like I grew up with these with their posters on my wall, you know? So and it's like, and the first time we did film with Bam, you know, it's public that he was struggling for a long time. And like when we were with him, he was at the bar and everybody's drinking, and like I could have very easily been like, dude, I'm with my childhood hero, let me celebrate. We just filmed the video, let me celebrate. But it was like, I know that if I do have a drink, and alcohol is not even my problem. It's like I love heroin and, you know, all the harder shit. But I do know that if I was to take a drink, it would lead me back to that shit, and I would lose everything.
Yeah, big spiral.
A big spiral, you know. And I just don't want to. I don't want to risk it. My life has become too full and doing all this rad shit, and I just why risk it? Yeah.
That's funny because like Bam for sure for me was like one of my childhood heroes. Out of all the guys, him and Knoxville were always like the top two guys. And I was just like, even like as funny as it sounds, like style wise, I was like, yo, these guys are sick. They
really created a culture. You know what I mean? With especially Bam. You know, Bam at one point, I want to say it was like 2006. He was like Forbes named him the most famous person on the planet, which is crazy. And he's making like $1 million deals at the age of like 19 years old, and he was like more famous than like as a skateboarder than Tony Hawk. He was like selling more boards than Tony Hawk at one point. And that whole culture of like CKY and Jackass and Big Brother and that Knoxville and Tremaine, you know, like it was this huge thing. I like my generation. That's like what people know is Jackass. And like I was with one of my buddy's son yesterday, and he's like 13. And I was like, "Have you ever seen Jackass?" He's like, "Nah, never." And I was like blown away. I was like, I was like, it was insane when he said that. But I was like, okay, you know. But he heard of Steve-O though. I was like, "What about Steve-O?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I know Steve-O." I was like, "Okay, good."
Did he tell you how he heard about him?
He just TikTok. Yeah.
So after that, so you're a year sober. You're working with Bam. What were you up to next?
It was just I stayed in Sober Living for just about 3 years.
Oh, shit.
And it's a long time, you know, to live in like a structured environment. And every like milestone, I was thinking, I have a year sober, I can move out, I have some money saved, I'm good. Like, but I remember Steve saying he did this interview where he was talking that he stayed in Sober Living for 2.5 years, and he said the reason why I did it was because I wanted to have the best chance at long-term sobriety. So when he said that, it just made a lot of sense. And so I kind of took that motto and was like, okay, I'm going to stay as long as possible to just give me the best chance for when I leave. And it was the best thing ever. But within those 3 years, it was just trying to, because I started Instagram. Like I never had an Instagram. It was, okay, I'm going to start one when I started working with Zach. And then we start making my own content, and like this was just 6 years ago, you know. So I started the Instagram 6 years ago. So it was basically just trying to get my name out there, doing these crazy things, and working for free. Like I worked for Andy Roy for free for about a year, like producing his podcast. You know, like he had Rip Ride podcast. Like I produced that, but I did it for free for a year just because like I wanted to show people like, I know what I'm doing. I know cameras. I know this culture. I know the world. Let me showcase my skills, and then eventually, hopefully get a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a lot of that, you know, just like hustling and grinding and getting my name out there and meeting as many people as I can. And hopefully somebody sees my shit and is like, okay, you're dope. Let's work. You know, and that's kind of what happened.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much interning for free.
Yeah.
What was your first, like, all right, this is going to work out moment?
Yeah. So it was 2020, still living in sober living, and I got this offer for this show called SynCity. And it was eventually, at first it was supposed to be for YouTube Red, where people have to pay to watch it. But then it just ended up, I think the deal went south, and it just ended up on YouTube. And then there was talks about pitching it to Netflix. Yeah. So we do this first season, and it's just this guy named Elton Casty. He does these things called the TFIL. It's like the fuck it list. Yeah. And he just goes around the world and has this list of crazy shit that he wants to do. And one of these goals he wanted to do was rent out this huge property, put all these like ramps, ponds, airbags, and invite all these creators to create this thing where it's like called SynCity, where you do this gnarly shit. And I got asked to do it, and at the time I maybe had like less than 10,000 followers. And so when he asked me to do that, I was like, all right, sick. This is like a perfect time for me to like step up. And when we did it, I had that feeling of like, okay, this is going to work out.
Sick.
You know, like I'm creating like that ramp video that I just showed you, me going down the ramp, did that there. A lot of like very viral videos that kind of made me who I am today happened during the filming of that. Yeah.
Sure. Sick.
Did you ever feel like it's surreal because you're like, all right, I grew up on Jackass, now I'm doing a video like this? Was it just like a whole...
Bro, I have that feeling every day. Yeah. Even like today, I have that feeling of like, shit, dude, like, again, this goes back to me being an attention whore. This goes back to like needing that validation of feeling cool. Yeah. And every day I have that feeling of like, dude, like Steve's my boss. I have a podcast with Steve. I'm traveling the world, touring with him. You know, we did all of Australia and all of UK, and we're filming specials, and I'm doing it with Steve, and like sometimes the other guys will come hop on, and it's like it's every day. It's like, shit, dude. Like I like when the last tour for Steve's comedy show we did, Bam came on tour for 2 weeks, and this is during the time where he was struggling, and he was like coming to AA meetings with us and stuff, and me, Steve, and him were just kicking it on the bus, and I just look up, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it doesn't make sense, but then again, it makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, you know, it's surreal.
Yeah, yeah. And then while you were in sober living, was there ever like, I'm pretty sure there was, but like tough moments where you were just like, yo, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not perfect. I'm a human being that struggles with addiction and alcoholism, But what I will say this time around, because before this, I just celebrated 6 years. Yeah. So this time around, I never got past 30 days. Okay. And it was a lot easier this time just because of what I was doing. Like, I was like, shit, I'm like doing, like the 13-year-old me is crying right now. Yeah. You know, I'm doing everything that I dreamed of doing. So it made it a lot easier to get through life, because my dumbass saying from back in the day was like, why would I be sober? If I'm going to be miserable and sober, I might as well be miserable and high. Yeah. You know, so that was my dumb thinking of like, life's never going to be cool. I might as well just keep getting loaded. And, but this time around, it was like, shit, I'm doing all this rad stuff with cool people traveling the world. Might as well. Yeah. And then eventually I got into the like AA and like doing the real work. Yeah. You know, yeah. But it was like, yeah, dude, every day it's like, at first it was like, man, I do have those cravings of getting loaded. And then I'm stressing about like, I'm 30 years old. I'm just getting sober. Like all my old friends have so much time ahead of me where they have families and a house and careers, and I'm fresh off the streets. Yeah. So it was like a lot of me just like tripping out about that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a big mental battle.
A huge mental battle, yeah. I mean, even today, like the people who I work with and surround myself with have huge careers and are financially set and don't have to worry so much about that. And I'm constantly comparing myself to that, where I'm like, oh, I should be so much further ahead. I should own a house. I should have a family. But at the end of the day, it's like, I was homeless 6 years ago, and I think I'm doing pretty fucking good just for 6 years.
No, yeah, that's definitely impressive. I'll give you that.
Thanks.
That's like a really crazy thing.
Yeah,
because
thanks,
even you saying the 13-year-old you, it's kind of crazy because a friend just reached out to me. Bad Bunny concert. What was it? Friday, Saturday, Thursday?
Yeah,
last week. Yeah. He hit me up, and this guy I haven't talked to in, I should like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
I grew up with him. We used to hoop all the time. And then I guess he was loaded. He was drunk. And he hit me up, and he was just like, yo, bro, like, I'm really proud of you. He's just like 13, 14-year-old you would be so like, he would think you're the coolest guy in the world. And I was just, I never think about stuff like that. And that night I was just like, yeah, this guy's right. You know, like
dude, it's sick.
Yeah.
It's really cool, man, because a lot of people, don't really know what they want to do, and they don't know what their passion is. And for people like us, we got that head start where we know what we want.
Yeah.
You know, we know what we want. We know the direction to go and try to get it. It just, all that matters is like, okay, if you want it that bad, are you going to fucking go and get it? That's really all that matters, you know? So yeah, we got a heads up on that.
Yeah.
And dude, like, the 13-year-old selves are fucking crying.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, never in a million years did I think I'd be doing what I'm doing. And it's rad.
Yeah.
Super dope. How did you end up like meeting Steve-O, and like how did that happen?
Yeah, so Steve, it was through Zach asked, because me and Zach were in that sober living together, and at the time Zach already had that internet fame, and he had a show on MTV called Too Stupid to Die. And he filmed with Steve a few times. I don't know if you saw where he skated through the cactus. It was a huge video, and it was with Steve. So while me and Zach were filming, he introduced me to Steve here and there, and Steve's also sober, so just a couple sober bros hanging out.
Yeah.
And it eventually just like grew into like a little friendship here and there. And I guess what happened was he just saw my work ethic. And he saw that I was like really trying, because I had some other projects with Zach, and I had a podcast with Zach, and I was busting my ass to try to make these things work. And you guys know that like with podcasting, it's consistency. Yeah. It's like having to drop very consistent, the work that goes behind it. And Steve saw that, and he saw that everything that I was doing was kind of failing because of the people that I was involved with. And it had nothing to do with my work ethic. It was just like, the shit was hitting the fan because of like outside reasons. And he kind of just, slowly invited me to come hang out. And then this was the time where he was filming for the Bucket List, and I would start like helping him film for the show. And then I'd help out with the warehouse down in San Diego, packaging merch. And then it just like very slowly grew into this like, okay, you're coming on tour with us. You're going to help sell merch on tour. You're going to film when I need you to film. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I'll do whatever. Like, I'll work for free at this point. I don't care, dude. Like, you're the GOAT in my eyes. I'll work for free. And then it was like, he was giving me the opportunity to help me film my own stuff. And then we did the Prison Pocket video and some other stuff. And it was, and then the podcast comes along where I'm like, all right, he hired me to produce, or produce just means set the podcast up. Yeah. And we do it in the van. So I would take the van, drive to wherever we're going, and set up. And I would wait outside while they film the episode. When they're done, I'd tear it down, bring the van back to the house. And then I was doing that for maybe 6 months. And then we had Bam coming on for like the second or third time. And just out of passing, Steve was like, set up a camera and mic for you. And I was like, what?
Shit.
Wait, really? And anything that Bam touches as far as content goes explodes. Millions of views. Yeah. So it was my first time on the Wild Ride. And I knew it was going to be a big episode, and I'm fucking stressing. Yeah. I'm stressing. I'm like, dude, millions of people are going to watch this. I'm brand new on the show. I get a couple sentences in, and you could see me. I'm sweating and like stuttering and not knowing what the fuck to do. And yeah, we had that, and And the episode ends, and I'm like, okay, cool, that was dope. Thanks guys, you know. And then I think we had a little tour to Vegas. We did Dan Barzillion, or however you say his last name, and we did the guy from Tool, and he kept asking me. He's like, all right, set up the camera, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? Like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna say no. And then when we filmed Dan Brazilian, he introduced me. He's like, this is my co-host Scott Randolph, and for our brand new third co-host Skinny Vinny, and I'm just like,
you're like, damn, sick,
shit.
yeah,
sick.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea that it was coming.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, and it was really weird because when I was producing it, I took like a selfie in the van and I posted it, and I was like, one day this was like a year and a half ago. I was like, one day I'll be in this seat and not just setting up, just as a guest. You know, like I had no thought of ever being a co-host. It was just I wanted to be a guest on Wild Ride and call it quits. Yeah. And then now I have the third seat. So it's like that's what, like, things happen for a reason. I'm a huge believer in manifestation, and it's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. I've been able to like meet a lot of cool people.
Yeah. Now you guys have had a lot of good guests. You guys just recently had Sean.
Yeah, Sugar Sean.
Yeah. How was that?
Sugar Sean is cool.
Yeah.
And he's super talented. He's a hell of an athlete. And I'm not gonna lie, like, man, dude, it was fight week. It was like 2 days before the fight, so I'm sure he had a lot on his mind. And I'm not gonna take anything away from him. He's dope. But then we had Cheeto on, and Cheeto was just like super down to earth. You know, like you could tell like he had a lot on his mind, but he was like, dude, just kicking it with us, just shooting the shit. And Sean, on the other hand, was more just like there just to answer questions.
Yeah.
You could kind of tell.
He was locked in.
But it was a cool experience just having them both on and for the same episode. And that little tour that we did down the East Coast, we got like a lot of bangers, dude. Yeah.
So it just happens out of nowhere. You don't really know who's coming on, or it's just like, let's go on tour.
Yeah, so we have bookers.
Yeah.
And they'll usually send us a list of like, all right, you guys want to do these guys, where are you at, where are you gonna be? And we'll approve, disapprove. And the ones that we approve will, like, say we approve a bunch in Texas.
Yeah.
We're all right, we're going to Texas to bust out 4 or 5 of them. And we'll bust out 4 or 5 within a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on what the schedule is. And we just bust our ass, dude. Because when we're on the road like that, we have a tour bus, a giant big tour bus. That's also where we did like Sugar Sean and Cheeto. And we also have our little bus where we film LA and go to Phoenix, Vegas. And when we're traveling on tour, we use the big tour bus. But when we're on the West Coast, we use the mini bus. And it's difficult, man. It's a lot of fun. Nobody else does it like us. And Steve always says, I wonder why nobody's copied us yet. You know, and I'm just like, dude, because it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
You know, like people like podcasting, people are just used to going into a studio, having everything set up, sit down, film, and leave.
Yeah.
This is like a whole different ball game of like driving to different states and like doing it like that. But I'm like super proud to say that like what we do is super unique, and nobody has yet to copy us.
Well, it's hard work because a lot of people, when we did our first podcast, a lot of people hit me up and they're like, yo, you just gave up a lot of sauce, like on how to do it. You literally just threw it out there, said, and I literally told my homie, I was just like, it's hard, bro. It's hard work.
It is.
I was just like, at the end of the day, setting up, even just running a store, branding it, everything else, I was like, it's not easy. So I could give the entire like new generation the sauce, but once they start getting into it, they're gonna be like, holy shit, this is a hard job.
It is, man. And there's so much more that goes into it than like a normal person knows or thinks. All the way down to like logos, graphics, music, like learning how to have a conversation. Most people can't like sit down for an hour and have a solid conversation where there's no dead spots, so you don't have to cut and make it interesting and keep it going for years at a time. People just think, oh, dude, I'm going to start a podcast, get some cool people. My numbers are going to be huge. I'm going to start raking in the money and have this huge podcast.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I thought that when I first started, you know, like I was like, dude, I'm fucking cool. Like, it's going to work. And I burned through 3 different podcasts before getting to Wild Ride. You know, I had I had What the Fudge with Zach, and I truly believed if we kept doing it, it would have been something big and special. And then I had this podcast called Moist Cheeks that I was doing with a couple of my buddies, and it's a lot of work, dude.
Yeah.
Having to really, and especially like me, I always have to be the producer. I edit, I get guests, come up with logos and stuff like that, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I love it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like people ask me, I was telling Rob, we left the USC game the other day, and I was just like, damn, like I wonder if I would have took like the college route, like what would I like where would I be at right now? And I was like, and he's like, can't even think about it like that. And I was just like, yeah, I wouldn't trade it just because at the end of the day, like for us, we work inside of our closet.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like a lot of people say like, I don't know how to say it, but it's just like it's not a career that you can really pick. It just happened. Kind of how you said you were just along for the ride with Steve-O. That was for us. We started a 6-month internship, not thinking much of it. In my head, I was just like, damn, I got to be at a cool store. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, just managers, then getting recruited to other stores, and then it just go with the wind.
Yeah. It's like I said, man, just having that passion for something, or like, because I was telling you guys, I also run some sober livings, and like I always tell the guys, AA, the program, it's super important if that's the route that you want to go. But for me, that's what is just as important is like finding your purpose, like finding a reason to wake up and not be miserable and doing something that you like to do to help other people as well. Yeah. You know, like it's rad, dude. It's pretty fucking cool.
No, I feel like in here too, we always use that. Like we're here more to help the community out than ourselves in reality.
For sure, dude. I say it all the time, because me and my close friend Isaac, like we follow other stores and stuff, and come here mostly, and we always fuck around and say, "Yo, Cindy is for the people, dog." Like Syndicate is for the people, and I truly mean it. It's sick.
Now, even like as something as simple as responding to a DM, like some people, like when we tell them like, yo, hit us up, and they're like, you ain't going to respond. I'm like, bro, we respond to every single person.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you guys got back to me pretty much instantly. And like, even when I'm on tour, you know, I'll hit you guys up and be like, yo, my wife is going to come by. She's going to grab these. Please let me get those, you know? And like, you guys stand your ground. You always say first come, first serve. And I'm like, all right, my wife will be there. You know, like I am on tour in Miami, but my wife will be there.
Yeah, but see, that's like the perfect example of putting in the work, because we have a friend, his name's Hudson. And he low-key gets everything. But it's like, we tell him first come, first serve. He puts in the work. And I always tell people the joke. I'm like, my mom could hit me up at 12. I need those. I'm like, the back of the line. But it's like we stand our ground on it, because some customers assume they're like, oh, you just let your homies get everything. And we're like, no. I was like, doesn't matter. You got to put in work.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's great.
So how'd you find out about us?
Through my buddy Isaac.
Yeah.
He, I think he just like shared one of your photos to me, and he's like, yo, you need to check these guys out. And then I think I came here pretty much like the day after. And dude, it's been fucking sick. And like when I first started coming here, I was living in Tarzana, on the west side of the 405. And so when I was coming here, I was driving 45 minutes, almost an hour, you know, fucking traffic. And now I just moved to Hollywood, and my drive here was 11 minutes. So I'm just stoked.
What was your first purchase here?
My first purchase here, shit, what was it? I don't know.
Was it the Fog SBs? The black joints with the gray?
Yeah, I think
no, it wasn't the Fogs. I ended up not getting those.
Like the wheat joints?
Because I clearly remember when I first got the DM. Like, we say it, I was like, who is this?
And I did get the wheats, but that wasn't my first either. I remember I traded some. I traded like the Crenshaws. I traded some other, I like the Polaroids. But I forget what it was, man. But my last purchase, what was it? The
Travises.
Travises. Yeah, my first pair of Travis. Well, second pair of Travises. I got the SBs recently too from a bet. I won them.
Oh shit! What was the bet?
Me and my co-host Scott, we were doing who could lose the most calories in a week on the fitness thing, and I fucking won, and he paid up, and he bought me the Travises. because like those have been a grail shoes of mine for a while. And me personally, I would never spend $1,500 on a pair of shoes. And so being able to get them in a way where I didn't have to spend my own money, it was like a win-win.
No, yeah, and then you lost the most calories too.
And I lost the most calories. Yeah, and if I would have lost the bet, I would have had to quit vaping. So either way, it was a win-win. It was either I quit vaping or I win the shoes. So it was a win-win.
That's it. Because, that day that you came and got that last Travis, you came initially for the barf, I remember.
For the barf. Yeah, that's right. And because I was going back and forth with my boy, and I was like, dude, I'm going to grab the barfs. Yeah. And he's like, dog, those are sick. Definitely get them. And then I was like, but those Travises, man, you know, like, and what was it, a women's 10 or 10 and a half, maybe?
So 9, yeah.
And I was like, it's my size. Let me just get those instead. And I know, like, with the barfs, it's more of like, if you know, you know, kind of thing. Like, if you're a sneakerhead, if you know, you know. With the Travises, it's more of like, it's the hype shoe. Everybody knows the Travises. But I've just always wanted a pair, you know? So I was like, fuck it, let me grab them.
You know, a funny story that day is I fucked up that day. I accidentally put the barfs online like before the morning. Yeah. And some guy ordered it like at 2 a.m. and I was just like, fuck, Vinny's coming for him. They sold online. So I was like, so I'm not gonna submit the order till and then when you pass, I'm like, all right, best case.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, see, it worked out. And then I see you have another pair.
Yeah, well, the other one's no box. And we had that one for a while. But dude, I was like, when I saw that order come in, I was just like, fuck, I did it because on the website it clicks to launch or not to launch. Yeah. And I was like, I forgot to unclick it, and I was pissed. I was pissed at myself that morning.
It worked out. It worked out. Sick, dude.
Yeah, 2 people left happy that day.
Yeah.
That was sick. So pretty much how, like, obviously you told us a little bit about yourself. Yeah. How did like you get into like sneakers and like streetwear and stuff like that?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was a Jordan 4 guy, mostly 4s and Air Force 1s a little bit, but mostly 4s. But my main thing was, do you remember the Jordan Spizike 4s?
Yes.
Yeah, those were, I was rocking like the Oreo Jordan Spizikes, and that's all I wore.
Yeah.
And then I got into, like, that was like before the skateboarding and stuff, and then skateboarding came along, and I was, you know, Bam Audios, you know, the shoes that Bam used to have, and then my house got flooded because I was living in Connecticut. It was a really bad hurricane, and all my shit just got destroyed from the flood.
Oh, shit.
And then that's kind of the same time the drugs came in the picture. So I really didn't give a fuck what were on my feet.
Yeah.
Like I didn't own anything, you know, like all my toys, all my everything, like I either sold or gave away. And so I really didn't care what was on my feet. And then pretty much throughout my addiction, it was just all Vans.
Yeah.
Just all Vans, cheap, get them anywhere. Go to Kohl's and get a pair. And then even like the beginning of my sobriety, it was just all Vans because I still didn't have any money. Like I said, I was working for free, so I didn't have an extra couple $100 to drop on a pair of shoes. And I was even in that mindset where like, dog, you're dumb if you spend $300 on a pair of shoes. And I think I had that mindset because I didn't have $300 to spend on a pair of shoes. I was kind of like, if you do that, you're stupid. Yeah. You know, like why would you spend that much money on a pair of shoes? And but I think I was saying it just because I couldn't do it. Yeah. And then like I didn't really start, maybe within this like last 12 months, really like get into it. And it was, I blame it all on my homie Isaac. Yeah. And because he's a big SB guy and SB dunks, and like I started messing around here and there with some dunks, you know, and I was also messing with some New Balances here and there, and I was like big on the NBs for a while because I got a couple pairs at their flagship store in London, and but then I just caught myself because whatever I buy, I wear. Yeah, I'm not a reseller. Like I'll like wear a shoe for a little bit, then like trade them in. Yeah. But I never buy a pair of shoes for the thought just to resell. Yeah. But I caught myself buying these New Balances, wearing them once or twice, and just like falling out of love with them, you know. And so I was like, all right, I realized I love the SB Dunks. They go with everything. They're comfortable, and I'm just gonna stick with it. And then like Isaac showed me his collection, and I was like, damn, dude, I need to step it up.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to step up my game. And then like I caught myself like really loving it.
Yeah.
Like really getting behind like the story behind a shoe, and then it was just like within the last year, it's kind of where my financials really started being okay, where I could drop some money on some shoes like that, and then I just like really fell in love.
Yeah.
You know, like damn, my collection is looking sick. I even got the shoe cases for my office, and I'm just stacking them up, and it's just a cool thing to just like look at where my life has come 6 years ago to being able to see $8,000 worth of shoes against my wall.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool. It's maybe it's a little flex thing.
Yeah.
You know, a flex to myself though. You know, like damn, I could do that.
Yeah.
From doing what I love.
Exactly.
So it's sick.
No, yeah, that definitely comes with like the territory of doing it, and then obviously how you said like your journey, and then seeing stuff like that is probably like a pat in the back for yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look, and I like recently I put on a pair of Vans, and they were so uncomfortable, and I was just like, I can't believe I wore these things for 10 years. Because I can't, like now I put them on and I'm just like, dude, I can't walk. And I used to wear them on tour where I'm walking so much. And I put them on recently. I was just like, dude, what was I thinking? Like, this is crazy.
No, I personally love Vans too, but I put them on now, and I'm just because of wearing New Balance and like the more comfortable shoes, and I'm just like, fuck, these shits are actually comfortable.
Yeah, and I'm a bigger dude. Like, I need some support. And rocking those fucking Vans, like the original Vans, and even like the small ones too, where there's no support whatsoever. I don't know how I did that for so long, but you know, it's I love everything about collecting and the culture, and it's dope, dude. Everybody's super cool, and it's pretty cool.
No, that's one thing we definitely try to do here too. Is just like be very opening to like the old sneakerhead, the OG, and then like the newer one coming in, not knowing like what's going on, getting their first pair of like Jordans or SBs, or trying to explain why this shoe's cool, why this shoe's not. It's always funny when like a family comes around with their son or like their daughter, and then they're just like, why do you want these? And then like their parents, like we talk to the kid, and you could tell they're just like, I would say impressed at our customer service, how we like are so welcoming, because I'm pretty sure they go to other stores and this is no knock to them, but they just get the head nod, and that's it.
That's great, dude. I love that. And I wouldn't consider myself a sneakerhead. When you guys asked me to be on the pod, I was like, man, this is gonna be interesting. You know, like it's like two completely different worlds colliding, you know, like my culture with the whole jackass and doing stupid shit with the shoe culture, but I love shoes, but I haven't been in it for a long time, so I was like, this is gonna be really interesting to see how this works. And Isaac was like, dog, what are you gonna talk about? I was like, just how I like shoes. You know, like, just how like my white Dunks go with everything. Every once in a while, I'll wear my black Dunks. My 4s I pull out every once in a while just to flex. My Travises, you know, I'll pull those out maybe once a month. Like, but I just like how they look, you know. But like I've grown to like appreciate the shoe culture, and it's cool.
I think that's one of the things too about the culture itself, is like how it brings all these different walks of life together, where it's like kind of like you said, you wouldn't think that what you're into would be something that we're into, or vice versa. But we all relate because of the shoes, and then we find out like, yo, we have a lot more in common than we thought.
Absolutely. It's funny because before I came in, I was on FaceTime with a friend, and she was like, what have you become? She's like, you moved to the heart of Hollywood. You just bought a Tesla, and now you're going on a shoe podcast. Like what? like what are you? And I was like, huh, that is weird. You know, like, and it's dude, I love it. I wouldn't change how things have been going for the world. It's you know, like I was saying before. It's like things happen for a reason. There's no such thing as coincidences, and just the whole podcast game allows you to meet and talk to people you never thought you would have a conversation with in the real world.
No, most definitely. And I've like seen all the guests you guys have had. Like, is there any like favorites that you have, or like any certain episodes that like stick out to you?
Yeah. So, Mod Sun was really cool.
Sick.
Paris Jackson was really cool.
Oh, sick.
Man, there's been so many. Jelly Roll was so cool, dude. He's so down to earth. We had. It's crazy because we've done so many, and it's so hard to remember because we just knock them out, dude. Knock them out. And like episodes like Russ, I used to listen to Russ a lot. I was listening to Pink Elephant when I like broke up with my ex, and I was just like driving back from Texas, just crying, listening to Pink Elephant. And then I just stopped listening to Russ for like a couple years, and I completely forgot that I fucked with Russ. And then we had him on the podcast, and you would never think that it would be this very intellectual, like have so much in common, and just like a really cool conversation.
Yeah.
And like and I'm sure you guys, I don't know if you guys are the same way, but the numbers of episodes, like the views and the comments, it fucks with us. You know, it's like when you see like, because you know, when we look at our average numbers are big, but then when we see an episode not get as much, we're fucking in our heads like, what did we do wrong? That episode was so good, but somehow it's not getting the reach, or vice versa. You know, and then like the comment section is so gnarly, where it's like, dude, people are coming at me for my like my weight, like my like just everything, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, and like I'll try really hard not to read the comments, but it's so hard not to. And but it's being able to have like an intellectual conversation with Russ is super rad. And or like Paris Jackson, you know, never in a million years that I think that we would be able to have a conversation with Paris Jackson, like Michael Jackson's daughter. Like that's crazy. And all these other like these people that like I've grown to, like we had Knoxville on a couple times, you know, that was a super rad. That was like a huge one for me, like to be able to have a conversation with Knoxville. And Steve had the podcast for about 1.5 years before I was on, and he did some, like he had Tyson on, Tony Hawk on, Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura, like all these like people. I'm like, all right, it's been long enough. Let's do them again. You know, just so I could do them, you know? And like during COVID, most of it was through Zoom, and where he's like, Steve and Scott were in the van, but they're on a Zoom video. And I'm like, dude, let's just get these guys on again in person. Like, it just makes all the sense in the world. Like, they had Dobrik on via Zoom. So I'm like, dude, Dobrik, let's get him on in person. Or same with, like, Tony Hawk, you know, let's get Tony in, you know, which I'm sure we will at some point. Because we've done doubles of people. So I think we've even done triples of people, you know, when enough time goes by. I think we did Tony Hinchcliffe about 1.5 years ago, and I think we're getting Tony on again on this next little tour.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Is there one person that you really want on the pod that you haven't mentioned, that you're just like, all right, I have to find a way to get this guy on, or girl?
Yeah. It would probably, for me, they've already did them before, but like Bobby Lee would be one. Burt would be another. Tony Hawk would be another. Even like they did them again without me because I was getting my teeth fixed. Steve like paid to get all new teeth for my mouth, and so I was out, and they did fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh shit!
Which would have been, I had so many questions for this guy, and but I'm not complaining. You know, Steve hooked me up with some new teeth, and but yeah, I mean, there's so many people. You know, like I could sit here and be like Jay-Z, Kanye. Which isn't out of the realm, you know, like it could happen. It could, but you know, there's so many people. But I mean, Tyson would probably be number one for me. And there's, I think we might talk about getting him again. Who knows?
There might be. I think Tyson would be cool, especially before his fight. That'd be nice.
Dude, it would be so epic, so epic before that fight.
Yeah, it would. Tyson would be a good one for right before, kind of how you did Sean and them. Yeah.
It's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Shit, dude. I've seen some shit go down that blows my mind. Yeah. So I don't question anything anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Just kind of let it happen.
I just go with the flow, dude. And the way things work out, it's like I don't like to use the word miracle, but things that I've seen and have happened to me, it's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And then for you being consistent, like on a pod, and then like for your job, pretty much career at this point, what's the hardest and like most challenging thing for you?
Just to lately, it's been a motivation thing. Yeah. Sometimes I'll like get these spurts of lack of motivation, and don't get me wrong, Wild Ride is so sick, and I'm so grateful to be a part of something so big and so special. But I've taken a step back away from Skinny Vinny because Wild Ride, it's Steve's thing.
Yeah,
you know, and the pay is great. The people, the travel, it's all amazing. But the whole Skinny Vinny thing, like me as a brand, I've kind of taken a step back from, just because when I got offered the gig with Wild Ride, I wanted to put all effort into it, all guns in, and I took a step back from doing my own thing. And now that I feel like, okay, I've proven myself, I've put in the work, I'm like trying to figure out what is Skinny Vinny now. You know, it's like, do I want to continue doing stunts? Yes, I'll always love stunts. It will always be the forefront of everything. But I'm also getting older, and I'm also, I look at like the OG guys, and I'm like, man, I think those guys are the only guys that can get away with doing it for as long as they've been doing it. Yeah. You know, it's like these new guys, that social media guys, and that try to do stunts. You know, it's like a quick thing. You do it, you get some views, get some clicks, and that's it. And then even with the new Jackass guys, like the newer guys they get in, like, I don't know if they could have longevity doing what they're doing. I honestly think that just the OG guys are the only people that can get away with doing stunts for that long. So that's why I'm trying to figure out, like, do I go stand-up direction, like doing stand-up comedy? Do I do sketch comedy? Like, I would love to get into acting, and I just don't know. And it's hard to do a podcast where you're constantly traveling and then still making my own content to, like, fulfill my needs, you know? And maybe it's just me making up excuses, you know? Like, today I can go film something, you know? But I, like... Maybe it's me just being lazy. I don't know, but it's hard to like find that motivation.
No, it's hard because it gets overwhelming, because in reality you want to do so much, but then you kind of don't know where to start.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Wild Ride pays the bills and some. And the Skinny Vinny stuff, it's more of just getting my name out there that doesn't really pay. You know, every once in a while I'll get a brand deal here and there that pays decent, but it's like my monthly expenses are crazy, dude. You know, I live in Hollywood. Like I have the utilities. I have like shit that I have to pay for monthly. I just got married. I'm taking care of my wife. You know, like, and Wild Ride pays the bills. Skinny Vinny stuff isn't really paying the bills. So that's kind of why my priority has been that. Yeah. But I miss it, man. I miss like the camaraderie between friends of like doing stupid shit, lighting ourselves on fire, jumping off a bridge, like nut kicks, like whatever, stapling shit to our foreheads, whatever, you know? But I think I've been getting out of the funk lately of like, all right, dude, let's like get back to it.
No, yeah. Speaking of stunts, what was the most painful stunt that you personally have done?
I've gotten pretty lucky, dude. Out of these last 6 years of me doing stunts, one time. I've gotten hurt one time, and that's that fire backflip.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Where I do a backflip on a trampoline, and Kyler Vick blew a fireball through me, and I had 2nd-degree burns all throughout my back for like 3 weeks. Shit. And I was out of commission, dude. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sit in a car.
Couldn't do anything.
Couldn't do anything. It was like such a weird, awkward place to have 2nd-degree burns. Yeah. But, you know, I've had like some cuts, like, but small stuff, you know, stuff that goes away. Like, I did the stunt where we went off the 2nd Street Bridge and dropped darts. I was on the bottom, and I was laying down with a target painted on my stomach, and they dropped darts. and I was the human dartboard.
Yeah.
So that was a good one, but you know, those it's like little holes like that just go away after a few days. But the burn was the gnarliest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the stapler one where you stapled the thing to your head. I was just like, hey, bro, come
on. Dude, believe it or not, like the staple stuff, like that's when we do live shows, like live stunts. I normally go that direction, like the stapler, the darts. Like I'll pick somebody out of the crowd and have them throw a dart at my stomach, because the reactions from the crowd are so big from those, but the pain, like the pain is nothing
for you.
So it's like the risk reward of getting the audience's reaction to such low pain is so worth it to me. You know, it's like getting a light tube smashed over your head, right? A fluorescent light tube. Yeah. It's this big thing. It's loud, glass shattering, the sound of it, so it looks and sounds crazy. Yeah. But in reality, like if you do it right, you don't get cut, you don't get hurt. It just looks crazy. Yeah. So it's like, and same with the darts. You know, it's like any normal person who sees somebody get a dart thrown at their stomach, you're gonna get this loud reaction from, oh shit, you know, like crazy. But it doesn't really hurt, dude. You know, it's like I have a lot of fat. You know, it's just like like I don't know if it would work with somebody skinny, but like me, I'm just using my fat to my advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then you is there, what's next for you? Because you showed us some stuff. So what's like, are you more into like, let me figure out the Skinny Vinny thing, or?
Yeah. So I've been working on this project for about a year, and during that year, you know, we did Australia, we toured all of UK. I went to Romania for Romania's Got Talent. I did America's Got Talent. I did all these things within the last year and a half. And in between all the traveling and all that stuff, I created this thing, and I'll talk about it. I'll even say the name now. I'm calling it 8 equals D, which is basically if you write it on a piece of paper, 8 equals D. It's a dick. Yeah. You know, and it's simple, and it's on brand. And a reason for me calling it that is because a lot of our stuff goes against community guidelines. We either get our stuff taken down, we have to blur our stuff because like we're naked a lot of the times, we're doing crazy shit, so we either blur it or it gets taken down. So 8 equals D, it's just a math equation. Yeah. It's not going to get taken down. Like I want 8 equals D to be shown on every television set because it's a dick that can't get censored. You know, and that's my main reason for calling it that, just so I could have a dick on your television screen and you can't do anything about it. And basically, it's a sketch comedy show sprinkled in with stunts and pranks. And I have my core cast: Jimbo, aka Airmanity, Chad Tepper, Emma, Thomas Kellogg, me, and it's like you get this 3-part linear sketch, beginning, middle, end, and in between all of that, you get these crazy transitions, sketches or pranks, stunts, and the whole thing is 8 equals D, which is something that I really see on like a late night Adult Swim or a Netflix or a streaming service. And I just finished it. I have everything done. I have my 25-minute pilot. I have the Bible. I have a sizzle reel. And now that I have a little bit of downtime, I want to give it my full attention to try to sell. Yeah. And that's the goal. That's the goal. And obviously, you know, I still love doing stunts. I'll probably always do stunts. But now I'm getting older and I have a wife and shit that I have to pay for. Yeah. And, you know, I don't have health insurance. I haven't had health insurance for like the past 2 years, which is ridiculous. But yeah, you know, I can't miss work. Yeah. I gotta pay the bills.
Well, that's dope.
No, my
bad. No, that's dope, and excited to see like what you do with that. And everything.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, dude. It's like I said, I wouldn't change anything. I feel like what has been going on, but dude, it comes with a lot of work and dedication and busting your ass and like a lot of sacrifice. You know, there's been times where I'm like, fuck, maybe having a regular 9 to 5 is like less stress than having to worry about like where my next big paycheck's gonna come. You know, before Wild Ride, it was like I had a show with Zach. So I do a show, I get a paycheck, and then I'm not working for fucking 4 or 5 months. Yeah. So I'm like, shit, what's gonna come next, and it's super stressful, dude. It's like, at least with a 9 to 5, some bullshit 9 to 5 job, you have that consistency and security of having a paycheck every week. Yeah. But I'll be miserable. Like even as a little kid, I never saw myself working a regular bullshit job. Yeah. Like, and I've tried, dude. I worked at Burger King when I was young. Like, I worked at this place selling flowers over the phone, and every little job that I had, I was done within 2 weeks. Yeah. And I just never saw that. And I'd rather sacrifice and be stressed out a little doing what I love than having that other thing.
No, yeah, that I definitely could see that, because same thing, I always ask myself that. I was like, can I work a 9 to 5?
Yeah, no way. No way, dude.
Yeah.
It sounds miserable, and I'm not knocking anybody who has a regular 9 to 5 job, but for me personally, it sounds miserable.
Yeah, there's something about like the thrill of like the hustle that for me that I'm just like, all right.
And it's like, this is you. Yeah. You know, this is your baby. Like, nobody can take that away from you. Yeah. You're working for yourself. You don't have to fucking like,
yeah. What was your favorite overseas city that you guys have traveled, or tour that you were just like, all right, this city was crazy?
London or Scotland. Yeah. Scotland was Manchester. Let me say Manchester. Manchester was the sickest. That was when we were on tour for Steve's bucket list show, and I was helping with merch, and I'm wheeling all the merch back to the tour bus, and Steve had the whole crowd meet us outside, and he's like on the tour bus while everybody's around it, and the bus driver comes, and he starts running to me, and he's like, dude, you got to get your ass up there. They're screaming your name. And I was just like, dog, I've only known you for 3 days. Don't fuck with me like that. You know, he goes, dude, I swear to God, walk around the building. I walk around the building, there's Skinny Vinny, and I'm just like, I'm in Manchester, across the pond. Yeah. I'm in a different country, and these people are screaming my name. So that was like one of the moments where I'm just like, okay, whatever I'm doing it right. It's working, and I'm gonna keep doing it. Yeah. And they just showed me a lot of love.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah,
it's funny because you guys are like actually inspiring, and then also with like the Jackass guys, like even the Red Room guys.
Yeah,
they literally live upstairs.
Upstairs from here. Yes. Oh shit! Yeah. I didn't know that. Sick.
Yeah. So when I saw that Steve was wearing the hat, I was just like, "Yo, that's crazy." And then even those guys, we always say, "I'm like, they're like a level down from like everything that you guys do."
Yeah, but that's crazy. I didn't know they lived upstairs. That's dope. Yeah, I haven't met them yet. Isaac kicks it with them every once in a while. Yeah. But they've showed nothing but love. Yeah. Nothing but love. Yeah, those guys are cool.
No, and it's funny because like everybody sees them and they're just like, damn, these guys are degenerates. And I'm like, bro, they're actually very smart. Yeah. Like those dudes, I was just like, they're cool, they're down to earth, but they also have that like jackass to them. Yeah. Where they're just down to do everything. Yesterday, one of them, Aaron, was painted in all green and just running around Chinatown. Yeah. And I was just like, bro, this just reminds me of pretty much like a newer version of that. Yeah.
That's sick. I didn't know that, man. Yeah. Small world.
No, they literally live upstairs.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. It's like to us when they first moved here, it was to us, it's like added security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And low-key, they have fucking a really nice setup upstairs. And, yeah.
Sick, dude. That's rad.
So, is there a city that you haven't gone to that you want to tour, or that you like, or I'm looking forward to this?
Yeah. I mean, the first time they did Australia, I wasn't allowed to go because there's some countries that I'm not allowed in. Oh, shit. I'm a felon. Oh, okay. So Australia was one of them. Japan's one of them. Canada, I'm not allowed in. And it sucks because my wife is from Canada, and that's where her family's from, so I can never go and visit. But Steve spent all this money and time into getting me all these attorneys and everything. So the first Australia trip I couldn't go, but they did Sydney, Australia, and I couldn't make that one. Sydney, Australia would be a dream. Yeah. And New Zealand, they did all New Zealand too, which I've been dreaming of going to, and I'm not allowed in New Zealand, but that would be one. I mean, dude, anywhere in Japan, but I don't even know if that would be a thing, you know, like Steve touring Japan. Maybe, who knows? But we've done every state. I personally didn't get to go on the Hawaii one, but they did Hawaii. But other than that, we've done every state. We did all UK. I think like a Mexico tour would be kind of sick.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. I've never been to Mexico.
I haven't gone to Mexico in like 17 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Mexican.
Yeah. I think like the UK stuff just makes all the sense in the world, you know. But I would love to do like Asia, and Japan, and stuff like that, and like India would be so sick.
Yeah.
But I, like as far as touring goes, like for that kind of stuff, I don't even know if that's a thing. Yeah. But places that I would love to go would be that for sure.
You never know; it might work out.
Again, you never know.
Yeah. And then before we ended, is there anything like that you would like to tell somebody that's like struggling or going through it right now? Like kind of, because your journey, I'm telling you, it's like very impressive.
Yeah,
like
thank you.
When I read on it last night, I was just like, holy shit, I didn't know none of this. Yeah. So to me, it was like very inspiring.
For sure. Yeah, thanks, dog. I mean, really, it's just, we talked about it a little during the episode, but it's really just, if you're struggling, it's more of like surround yourself with people that have more than you. And I'm not just talking like financials and money and shit like that and material bullshit. It's like find people that have more than you spiritually, mentally, physically, just happiness, serenity, you know, because when you surround yourself with people like that, it like forces you to get what they have.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm very grateful and lucky that I surround myself with people that have more than me in every aspect there is. And it forces me to like, I want to get like these guys. I want the house in the hills with the jacuzzi, sauna, and cold bath. I want that, you know? And they also have years of sobriety. You know, Steve has 15, 16 years. Scott has 10 years. I have 6 years. So it's like I strive for what they have, not just material stuff, and it's like find your purpose, dude. It's like find what you like to do. Find even if I tell the guys that I at the Sober Living too, it's like no matter what the purpose is, go help some old lady walk a dog. Yeah. You know, because it might not be the purpose that you want right away, but you need it. Yeah. And then the purpose that you want will come to you. Yeah. Yeah. That's really about it, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty great way to end it. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure to check out Wild Ride and then Skinny Vinny.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Thanks for pulling up.
Yeah, hell yeah.